Fancy a trip to the lakes to soak up the Missouri sunshine? Sounds idyllic, right? Well, think again as we take you on a journey through the corrupt and drug-fueled world of Ozark. Hello, you lovely lot. It's Emily from It's Gone Viral, and thanks for heading over to our channel. Yes, you may have guessed it, but in this video, we'll take a look at the top 10 things you likely missed in our favourite binge-worthy show, Ozark. From hidden themes to Easter eggs, we've got you covered. You know the drill by now. We're going to be going through the first 3 series in quite a lot of detail, so this is your official spoiler alert. Right, let's get into it. Did you know that whenever you sit down to watch Ozark, you're actually being given a coded clue as to what to expect from the episode? How? Because in every new episode, the title sequence changes. The beginning of the show always starts with the title being split into 4 parts. The O is always the same, but with each new episode, the other 3 images change to represent what lies in store this week. The images range from weapons to money to symbols to give you a coded clue as to what you can expect from the new episode. It's a very subtle change, and we don't blame you if you haven't noticed it before. And it's one of many ways the show intends to keep you hooked and guessing what will happen in each episode. This one may appear fairly obvious given the events that happen from season 1 to 3, but we're including this just because of the sheer scale of the power dynamic switch between Marty and Wendy. Okay, cast your minds back to season 1, and you see Marty and Wendy constantly at odds with each other due to Marty's decision to up sticks and move their entire family from Chicago to the Ozarks just to launder money. As the series progresses, however, the birds find themselves in a position of immense power due to their constant schemes and plans. From season 1 to the end of season 3, the power dynamic completely changes between Marty and Wendy, with Wendy enjoying the new power and status the family holds. I mean, she literally makes the decision to kill her own brother. Could you really see Wendy from season 1 doing this? While at the other end of the spectrum, Marty considers suicide due to the situation he's put himself and his family in. Over the course of the 3 seasons, Marty and Wendy's relationship is tested like never before. But when their plans come to fruition and the levels of corruption get higher and higher, their bond gets stronger and stronger. And it's definitely worth considering whether if they hadn't embarked on this journey together, would their family still be together? Laura Linney's performance as Wendy is truly one of the highlights of Ozark, and seeing the development of her character, in our view, has been unrivaled by any other show in the time Ozark has been released. What will happen to Wendy and Marty's relationship at the end of season 4? We'll just have to wait and see. Religion certainly plays a part in Ozark and goes hand in hand with the themes of morality in the show. To start with, Missouri, where Ozark is set, is considered a very religious state in the US. And so, when Marty and Wendy arrive with plans to launder dirty money, they are very aware that they're doing it in a much more religious environment than in the city of Chicago. That becomes pretty apparent when you notice plenty of their new neighbours have religious names such as Grace, Jacob, and even baby Zeke, not to mention their own son, Jonah. There are many references to religion throughout the show. I mean, Marty literally builds a church and the birds own a funeral home. And it's fair to say that the shadow of religion looms heavily over the show. And none more so than in the characters and storyline of Pastor Mason and his wife Grace. When Mason realises the money to build the church is drug money, he pulls the plug on the deal with Marty and then tells the police the Snells are drug dealers. The Snells, of course, then retaliate by murdering Grace, leaving Mason on his own to raise their newborn son, Zeke. This storyline is the epitome of the theme of morality that Ozark explores. A good Christian family end up losing everything because of the birds' arrival in the Ozarks, and really shines a light on the question that is asked throughout the series. Marty is trying to save his family, but at what cost? This is one for the Arrested Development fans out there. We all grew to love Jason Bateman's portrayal of Michael Bluth in the acclaimed sitcom, and seeing him flex his remarkable acting range in Ozark has been a joy to watch as well. But you may be surprised to know that there's actually a few references in the crime series to the sitcom. Not only does Bateman star as the lead in a show about a wealthy family who loses it all in both shows, but there's also another hidden reference in there, similar to the beloved banana stand. In the same way the Bluth family always hid money in the banana stand, the Birds also can be seen stashing their cash away in the walls of their house in Ozark. Anyone else secretly hoping George Michael appears in Season 4 to really make it come full circle? As promised, up next we have a cheeky Easter egg for you. Arguably one of the most iconic scenes from the entire series is when Ozark's Pastor Mason Young meets his grisly end. To put it lightly, Pastor Mason had a pretty tough time of it. First, his pregnant wife was murdered by the Snells for disrupting their drug-dealing side hustle. Then his newborn baby, which was saved by the Snells after murdering his wife, was taken away by social services in a heartbreaking scene. Pretty understandably, Mason eventually explodes and seeks revenge on Marty and Wendy for meddling with his life and using him as a pawn in their criminal master plan. He takes Wendy hostage and demands they arrange for baby Zeke to be returned to him. The pastor is in fact killed by Marty in an attempt to save his wife, and you eagle-eyed viewers might have spotted that as his blood begins to spill on the ground, it appears to form the shape of two wings. Perhaps a reference to him being a fallen angel, as he described himself earlier in the episode. Not the best choice of words after all, Pastor? Right, this one's for the OG Ozark fans. Do you remember a scene in Season 1 where Ruth electrocutes a mouse? She's conducting the experiment to make sure her plan to kill Marty will execute perfectly. Well, little did the directors know Julia Garner has a completely rational, might I add, fear of rodents, and nearly had a meltdown when she was told she had to hold a mouse by the tail and drop it in the water. She revealed in an interview that she had to run off to the bathroom because she was panicking so much and couldn't breathe. Eventually, the director actually had to find a hand double to shoot the 10-second long scene. Who even knew that was a thing? Seeing as the Birds find themselves at the centre of a drug smuggling operation, it's hardly surprising the theme of addiction is rife throughout the show. Like I say, this may not come as too much of a shock, seeing as in the first series you see the Snells poppy field which they use to sell heroin, the most addictive drug on the planet, might I add. But as the series progresses, there are many more subtle hints of addiction, from smoking to lots of characters drinking alcohol. But it's not just the addictive substances that are constantly being presented to us throughout the series. In Season 3, we also see Marty and Wendy open up a casino, prying and profiting on the locals' gambling addictions, whilst finding a new way to clean their dirty money. With alcohol, heroin farmers, drug cartels and gambling all continually shown in Ozark, the themes of addiction and the focus on profiting from others are key to setting up an environment for the Birds to carry out their morally corrupt plans. Now, this is a detail which only the most observant viewers, and possibly sports fans, would spot. But did you notice that in nearly every scene a television is on, it's playing a Canadian Football League game? Obviously, Ozark isn't set in Canada, but when you think about it logically, if the show was filmed in Canada, as many Netflix shows are, it should explain why the show might be popping up. However, the CFL clip is the same highlight, which has now appeared on multiple seasons of the show. A fan of the show noticed that it once appeared on Modern Family too, so actually it's likely the clip is a go-to for cheap sports highlights and someone made a whoopsie and put it in the show twice. Money laundering for a Mexican drug cartel, as you can imagine, is a very complex process. Not that we can speak from experience. And considering it is a core theme of the story, the writers wanted to get it exactly right. So who better to ask how to carry out the criminal activity than the FBI? An FBI agent who used to work on money laundering cases educated the writers not only on how the operation runs, but also the different characteristics of these organised criminals, so they could make the characters as authentic as possible. For example, Nazaro perfectly captures the money-hungry character with little patience for small talk. And last but not least, something which has absolutely no relevance to the story, but I guarantee you'll be looking out for in the new series, is Marty Byrde is always wearing his favourite trainers, New Balance. This is something sneakerheads would have picked up on in Jason Bateman's previous films and TV shows too, as he always wears the classic New Balance trainers. So that's it for our top 10 things you missed in Ozark. Or did you miss them? Let us know if you've spotted any other hidden details across the seasons. Thanks so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again for watching It's Gone Viral.